Hello and welcome to the Member of the Month conversation for August 2009. I'm Amanda Melby, Executive Director of IFP Phoenix, and I am here with our Member of the Month, Bob Marquis. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Bob, you just finished your film for the 48-Hour Film Challenge, An Uplifting Tale, which was a beautiful film.
Thank you. Thank you.
You had an illustrator, you had a composer.
We did. We did. It was we did have all original music that was made for the film. We had someone illustrate photos. Our story was about a fairy tale, a modern day fairy tale, and so we started with a traditional fairy tale. Open the book and kind of go in, and so we actually had our script printed. Someone had a book press at home that she bound us a book and made it from scratch, and then we had someone after we had our editing points roughly planned out. We printed out those, and then someone hand illustrated all of our scenes, and so we kind of pop in and out of the book as it turns pages. So it was a very uniquely. I'd never put together any sort of film that had that much creative aspects to it. So it was a lot of fun to do. Yeah. So you really played towards the strengths of the people that you had on your team. Yeah, we actually had, going into it, going to most film challenges, I generally, I've partnered with my wife, and she's a talented writer, and so we've really been able to collaborate a lot on things. And so going into it, we try and bring some unique teams together, some people that generally haven't worked before. Pretty much our entire cast and crew this time around, none of them had worked together before, and so we really try and just kind of bring some people together that all have some different strengths, and then find ways to leverage those. And so going into it, we had someone that had our illustrator actually had a product design background, and so we were, in our kind of pre-planning and in our brainstorming of just like what are some possibilities, we were exploring. He had the ability to make us some props or make us physical things, and we ended up not going that route as much with him, but we had that option, and so we tried to consider as many different possibilities as we could. And you worked with Webb Pickersgill this time, and you met him through one of our other challenges from last year, right? Yeah. After the April Beat the Clock finals during the Phoenix Film Festival, he and I had a chance to sit down and talk, and we were able to really just kind of bond over the films. He had, I think, 3 films that were in there, and was up for some editing awards for them, and among others. And so I had a film that was also up for editing, and called Rochambeau, and that was a stop motion animation that we put together. So. That was one of my favorite films of the whole year last year. Thanks. It was so original and totally out of the box. And for those of you that haven't seen it, you should try and contact Bob and see a copy of it, because it's really, it's really cool. There's no people in it, it's just actually, technically, we did, in order to comply with the rules, we were very, very purposeful with this. There are scenes that we slowed down the frame rate to try and make it look like an animation slightly, because it was live photos, but moving objects. But we did have a moment when I was on screen that had to deliver the line of dialogue. That was part of the challenge. But I forgot that part. Yeah. But the rest of it was you'll have to take a look. But it was a battle for the ages, so to speak. And your wife was up for Best Writing, right? Yeah, she won Best Writer, and I was blessed with Best Editing for it, and our film finished second to one of the Cat Brain films, which was they always seem to produce some good work. Yeah, very cool. And so, are you doing the November challenge and the January challenge, or what's next? Yes, there are some plans for that. Okay. We've been trying to creatively explore some different ideas and figure out who can we work with next on some things. I'm also teaching a workshop, an 8-week workshop on the film challenge is how to create more of an original story in that, and then what are the basics of what the mechanisms you need to do in order to actually put together and go out and execute the film and do it in a quality manner. So
I think that's one of the strengths that you guys, you and your wife and your team brings, is that you not only have technically excellent films, but they're also just crazy original. You know, I mean, really, that's, I think, one of your biggest strengths.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We really take pride in that, and so to hear that actually is coming through is I'm really pleased to hear that. So thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I think that I started off in filmmaking while I was training in improvisation at the Second City while we lived in Detroit, and so that led me through some crazy path on getting into filmmaking. But the idea of creating some original stories and just some unique ideas of taking some disjoint ideas and kind of mashing them together and see what happens, see how does it really play out in those scenarios. That's kind of some of the underlying drives that we have when we make our films. And actually in this last challenge, our choice was Western or drama, and we didn't really, we weren't, Western is a whole ball in and of itself. So when we decided to go the drama route, we really wanted to challenge ourselves to find a way to make it not a sad or heavy drama, but to find a unique twist on it and make it more uplifting.
Well, it was indeed uplifting. So, what were some of your, besides the improv part, what else got you into filmmaking? Like influences as a kid, or favorite movies, or?
You know, wow, it's kind of a crazy path. I would say that growing up, I never considered myself a filmmaker type, and I always looked over at people making films in kind of awe of, wow, that's an amazing gift and talent that they have, and that's really it's just amazing that they can create those sort of things. And I guess once I started taking classes at Second City, it kind of really started to unlock a creative side of my brain, and I really was able to start applying it. And I was at an improv festival and watched this show. It was called Neutrino. It was a group out of New York, and they performed a live film in front of an audience. They basically took their improvisers and some cameramen, ran out, got suggestions and props, ran out in the streets, filmed it, and we started watching it on about a 10-minute tape delay. So 10 minutes after they left the theater, we started watching this film. They were still creating.
Wow.
And I sat there, just my mind blown, and I said, I don't know how, but I have to find a way to do this. And so I ended up buying a camera and ended up licensing their format to Detroit. And so I was the producer and director of that for a number of years. And once we started making these improvised films, we ended up kind of getting into the short film route. And then I started looking into film challenges. And I heard about one. Detroit at the time didn't have one, and so the closest one was down in Cincinnati. So we took, it's like a 5-hour drive down to Cincinnati. So I went down there with a bunch of about 12 improvisers, and we were in our first film challenge. And that kind of got me addicted to it and kind of got me hooked.
And when did you move here to Phoenix?
We moved here in May of '98, so just over a year ago.
Okay.
And the...
Oh, wait?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, what?
You said 98.
Oh, wait. Yes, 2008.
Okay.
And then we started entering the film challenges here, and we did one was a puppet film that we did, and then we also made the stop motion, and then this last time around was our uplifting tale.
Well, Phoenix is grateful that you're here. We are grateful that you're here.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
And I can't wait to see what else you come up with.
Thanks.
Yeah.